Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers, if you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money, so we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Hey, Rebel Rousers, welcome back to another edition of Rebellion Reborn, a segment of Primatech Files, which, of course, as you should know by now, is a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things Heroes and Heroes Reborn related things. I am Lilith, and on the hunt for enhanced humans. With me, as always, is...
Are they enhanced humans? I thought they were Evo Sapiens. Anyway, it's Ricky. Hello.
Oh, now I don't even trust the book, even though it's supposed to be canon, so I don't even know what to make. But, never mind with all that, because up for discussion today is episode 104, The Needs of the Many of Heroes Reborn. I don't have a lot to say about it, but Ricky does, so we'll see how this goes.
Hit him up with the tech specs.
Who wrote this? Oh, Joey Falco wrote this, and it was directed by... somebody will know. Jeffrey will know. There we go. I did that from memory like that.
So, synopsi. I have Malina and Farah leave the Arctic. Tommy deals with the aftermath of the car accident. Miko and Ren arrive at Renautas. Quentin and Noah get inside Renautas and find Molly Walker. Carlos discovers a way to even the odds in his fight to avenge his brother.
Okay, and we'll talk about the ratings real quick. The Needs of the Many scored a 1.2 in the demo. It had about 4,410,000 viewers, so down again.
Yes. One and done. No, I'm joking. Let's hope that everyone comes back, or what's not. Anyway, where do you want to start off with?
Yeah, we're just going to do pairing, so let's just, whoever you want, I'll just go with the flow.
Let's start off with
Vengador wait, I take it returns. Back. My happy news. The best thing that happened in this episode, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. The Collins sisters broke up! Yes!
Let's start off with the Collins, his eyes then. So, where are they on my notes? There they are. So, what do we start off with? We start off with them taking out, what's his name? Some guy. Someone French. Alistair French, I think his name is, in St. Louis.
Alexander French?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, she goes, is your name Alexander French? Boom! Straight through the noggin, and she's so happy about it.
I know, she takes far too much joy in this. And then, obviously, Luke is... He started to kind of see people as Evos now. Not Evos, as humans now.
Yeah, because he's one now. You know how that goes.
He's one, yeah. And he's trying to talk his wife out of, getting out of the game, getting out of the killing. And this I don't know, like their relationships seem strange since the first time we've met them, and it's even more strange now that he has this kind of secret that he's keeping from her. They're hiding out in a motel. And there's this really random bit where, like, he seems like he's about to tell her, and then, like, the music just stops and he goes, "Yeah, I love you," and it's like, oh, okay.
Man, I mean, I don't know what it is, but they have just, I guess it's the point of Joanne, and she's supposed to be, like, the unlikable one, but, like, man, it is brutal. Like, there is no redemption. Like, I don't think they've ever done a character like this where it's just no redeemable quality about this woman.
Maybe they're just waiting until the moment that they kill her off to kind of, have that big yay moment. But yeah, it's weird because it's pointing out the differences in their relationship. Like, obviously she's very content with killing, and it doesn't seem like he ever was. It was, he says, the first time that you killed an Evo, you slept like a baby.
And he was throwing up.
And he was throwing up. So, obviously he was, and he only really said he was doing it for her to kind of, fix what was wrong with them. But yeah, and then instead of like telling her that he has powers, he obviously shows her, and that leads to like, her not shoot but threatening to kill him. So obviously she still kind of loves him at this point, no matter how strained their relationship is, because I think if she didn't, she would have had no qualms in shooting him there and then, and maybe them both exploding, because that's probably what would have happened, right?
I think you were absolutely on the money about that, soaking up the radiation from the sun too.
Yeah, definitely. They play around with it far too much now. That's basically what it is. I still don't know whether or not he was the reason that Odessa blew up, because that really kind of wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it wouldn't make sense, especially with the sun going out at that point. But I'm wondering why his powers started to develop now, because usually
Aurora Borealis, eclipses. Remember, it was basically an eclipse at the at the rally.
Middle.
And then now there's the Aurora Borealis going off every which way. Thanks for that, Malina.
I am actually going to call them the Aurora Borealis like pretty much every time. I think I tweeted that out on the night, and someone corrected me. I was like, no, I'm talking about Sarah Bareilles. But yeah,
or Aurora Borealis.
Yes. But yeah, so that's pretty much the Collinses. Zachary Levi does a good. Zachary Levi does a good holding back the tears face. So yeah.
It looked more like relief. Oh, thank God that crazy beep is out of my life. Because that's how I felt.
So I think, he's obviously going to start getting more involved in the kind of the Evo part of the story. And I think there's only one place she can really go, which is Renautas at this point, right?
We'll get there. I don't know what he's going to do. But maybe he is going to meet up with Noah finally.
I think they are, because the way that they played off the Aurora Borealis is, everyone was looking at, and I think they said, Farah said, a lot of people are going to help you, they just don't know it yet. And I think all those people who are looking at it are basically going to be the ones who are going to converge on wherever it is. It's just trying to find out how they're going to converge on probably Midian, I guess.
I don't know, that seems way too obvious.
Mm.
You remember how Kirby Plaza, it took a while to get to the... I don't know. We only have 13 episodes, so I guess maybe it is Midian. It'd be disappointing, though, because it's like all the tech is there. They have the glasses. Why would they show up there?
Definitely. But I've got another theory on the tech now, but we won't move on until we get to it. So, what was pretty short?
Tommy and his Bro T3. Oh, God, he's such an idiot. Why didn't you just teleport out of the hospital room? She knew what you were. Just do your thing at that point. Idiot.
But it seems like, she... well, let's start off at the beginning. So, they're in the accident. He teleports his mom to the hospital and just collapses and meets her there later. We find out that her mother's got some kind of special... Is it O-negative blood?
I have it too.
Which is really rare. Okay.
It's not that real, but they said because of the Evos, nobody's really wanting to donate.
Yeah, that was I like that. I thought that was a really good kind of world-building thing, like the fact that, blood supply is in short demand because everyone's scared of being outed. I thought that was really nice. But, Tommy says he'll help out and he'll give his blood. I don't know how you felt about this, but when they came back and said, that he wasn't a match, I was like, are they actually related or not?
That's the thing about blood types, though, and I don't know, maybe that's what they were leading us to think. And at this point, it almost seems like she's not his mom if you start looking back over the shadow of the things that she's doing. Yeah. But she's just like his protector, basically.
Yeah. Like maybe she the way I see it is maybe he got his mind wiped when he got taken at 7 years old, and she basically took him and just raised him as his own. Like maybe she was working at Renautas at the time, or maybe she's part of this other group who are kind of protecting him.
And Malina.
And she just raised him. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. So yeah, they end up going to get more blood.
In Indiana.
From Indiana. Yes. And Tommy's having this conversation with Emily, and he tells her, sorry, Jesus Christ, my throat. Tommy's having this conversation with Emily in a supply closet, because there's always an empty one of those in hospitals, and he tells her about he feels this pressure of feeling different, and there's a weight of the world on his shoulders, which they're still building up the fact that he, out of all the specials, he's kind of the most special. And she says this line, which is the moment that you accept what you are, you're going to have way more fun with it. And I'm still really suspicious about her. Like, maybe
yes, Emily is suspicious. She is a honeypot.
Definitely.
She is a prepubescent honeypot.
So I wouldn't be surprised if she's working for this other kind of this company type, this other place that has this plan for him. Just to she's going to be basically his Farah, but unknowingly, if you get me, like that person who's going to kind of build him up to kind of make him use his powers. Or, maybe she is just a really nice girl who is way into him and not into her own boyfriend. So yeah, they get the blood, come back, and nice nurse tells him that he has to run. He runs, and Cole Cutler, because Cole Cutler makes his way. If you've listened to our interview with David Bishop, you know that he plays a kind of big role. So yeah,
he works for it in the books. It makes it seem like he definitely works for Renautas on the side too. So
okay,
be suspicious.
I think quite a lot of people work for Renautas, maybe unknowingly.
They're selling them evos for them dollars.
Exactly. So yeah, that's basically Tommy, isn't it? Yeah. He gets captured and doesn't teleport out, because obviously if he doesn't, then his mother won't get the blood.
Oh, well, bye, lady. It's all about self-preservation at this point. She'll understand. Mama will want me to live, honey. She will want me to live. That's all I'm saying. He's dumb.
Oh God, he is. He's got that Peter about him, doesn't he?
Oh my God, yes. Anyway, shall we get to the Noten, the Frenton?
No, let's leave them to last, because I like them. We'll leave them to last. So.
Okay, so then it's Ren and Miko.
Yeah,
on their way to America.
Really yes, I like. What did you think of his English accent? It was quite cute, wasn't it?
I was like, this is straight up Ando. Like, he has to come along because he speaks English. And he's got the money, apparently. So I'm just like, this is all kinds of weird right now.
But he is definitely like the hero in the pairing, isn't he? Because we've related them to like Hiro and Ando like numerous times, and I think a lot of people see that kind of connection as well. But it's just in reverse. Yeah. And you've got Ren, who is just so hyped about everything, and really like.
I don't think it's even the reverse though. I think that it's they each have mish-mashes of both Hiro and Ando, and it's just like a crazy banana combination that works.
Yes, and I actually liked Miko in this episode because she seems a bit more playful. Like the first time we meet her, she's pretty stoic and pretty angry most of the time. The next one, she's just getting her ass beat. And this one, you kind of see her smile quite a bit. And I really like that because, it kind of plays her off as an actual person. Like, the whole time I've been thinking, is she just a computer sprite brought to life? And, when they're in the airplane, he basically tells her, no, you're not a computer sprite, you're a real person. You're not a zombie, he calls her. Because, obviously I can touch you and you have, you've eaten pretzels or something like that, which... I'm surprised it wasn't ice cream, because ice cream seems to be the big thing instead of waffles this time, right?
Oh.
But yeah, when they're on their way, he busts out the English accent, makes basically a flash mob outside Renautas, which I think he actually
they are
turns up with a
stuck in
pretty good plan.
2010, dude. This seals it for me. A flash mob? Oh my god.
But yeah, he ends up doing this flash mob thing, and I think it's a pretty neat idea. And then she turns up and everyone freaks out because, you know, she's Katana Girl. But yes.
Yeah, that was cute. For sure. So while we're at freaking Midian, let's just talk about Noah and Quentin silently judging all the digital sheeple, okay? While eating sushi. Like, I could not have written a better /fic beginning than that.
And it's just the fact that, like, everything that Henry Zabrowski says is blatantly just, like, improv. And I love it. It feels so natural. And obviously, like, from his interviews and stuff, you know he's really like that anyway. He's a big conspiracy theory nut. And it just feels like, oh yes, this is the perfect plot for me because, you know, I can get all this stuff out. And I really like him. I think he's hands down being one of the best characters of this series. And I think the way that they're playing him off as like the kind of comedy sidekick at the moment will only make it better when he finally sees Phoebe. And that kind of, you know, they'll be able to switch him to being like the sympathetic good guy, if you get me. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Frady Cat reunion for sure. As long as she doesn't kill him.
Yeah. But before we go definitely into the noting or the HRQ.
Yes, HRQ. I like that one.
Let's go to Farah and Malina.
The Invisible Fairy Godmother and Captain Planet. Okay.
Definitely. What is her powers? Because she controls like the elements, right?
And apparently magnetic poles, and she can bring butterflies back to life, and Malina is just the bee's knees, apparently.
I know, right? She breathes the air of life into butterflies. But yeah, the butterflies make a big return with loads of them dead, and she brings them back to life. Her powers seem to be lifting her arms up in the air. Lifting her arms up into the air numerous times and stuff happening. But yeah, they what do you think about Farah being like, because she said on her Twitter, Nazine Contractor, that, you know, this is the first kind of Muslim superhero. What did you think of that?
I did like that they had her praying on her mat, although there was no water nearby. I guess she could just use the sink to clean her hands first. But, you know, technical stuff. I really did appreciate that they showed that, and I think that was really cool.
Definitely,
I made mention of it on Prime and Tech Files, I think.
Yeah, and yeah, I thought it was quite cool, especially with, you know, where the kind of the first season was, you know, that kind of post 9/11, and now here we are, like, switching it round. I kind of enjoyed that. But yeah, they start making their, you know, she looks at a compass, which I thought was a nice little aside to
season 4. Robert
Canepa.
The Canep.
Definitely. And they're making their way towards something. What they're making their way to, we still don't know. But, you know,
Carlos in LA.
Pretty much, yeah, probably. Farah states that Malina has the fate of the world in her whole hands, and Malina, I like, for the, you know, she's pretty much just like game for it. She's like, you know, good thing I'm not you know, I think Farah says, you know, if men would quake at the thought of what you have to do, and she's like, good thing I'm not a grown man. I'm like, yeah. But yeah. But there was something I wanted to bring up. Like, it seems like Renautas have been trying to kill Malina since her first birthday. So Malina's been, let's say Malina's in her early teens, about 14, 15. So that means Renautas has been around for at least 10 years.
Well, they said that they've been trying to kill her. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So they've been around since about 15 years. So I'm still waiting for this what is Renautas kind of episode to come about.
They tell you in the little bits of hints that they started off as this like really weird like green energy kind of company, and then it just kind of turned into something else.
Okay.
There's like a magazine article laying around or something like that in Erica's office. I'm surprised you didn't screenshot that.
Oh no, I saw that, and I thought that it was a very interesting thing that they said it was Volume 6,
Yeah.
Volume 6, Issue 3, which kind of makes sense that this is the third episode that they've shown, even though it's technically the fourth.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I thought that was a nice little leg. But yeah, and that's it. They encounter. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about HRQ kind of ambushing Taylor, and that causes Taylor to talk to her mom, and her mom gives her that TED talk. Ugh.
Yeah, but there's something about the Farah and Malina thing. I don't know. This is the first time that we've actually had any decent amount of screen time with Malina as a character, and I don't know how a lot of people wonder about Malina, and obviously because we've done a lot of research into it because of the podcast. We know, she's this bold and ethereal teenager who's been destined for great things, and she's been, obviously been trained since she was a young kid. And when she first meets someone who sees that she's special, the first thing he does is pretty much just like snitch on them,
dropping her down.
And Farah's there to protect her, but I thought that they could have made a bit more of that, because obviously I don't think a lot of people know much about Malina. So yeah, but that's it. But yeah, let's go on to Taylor and Erica, I guess. Yeah. That little scene.
She turned around really quick. I mean, was the D that good? Are people so in love with other people's genitals in this show that they will literally go charging into the lion's den? I'm sorry, that's just not me. I don't care how good it is.
I don't know. Maybe it is just that good. Maybe it's the TK powers helping. But no, they have their little the start of their little rift, and yeah, and that's basically it.
I don't know. Blood should be thicker than water at this point, though. I'm just saying, Taylor.
But I don't know. I think it's the fact that they go more into it inside the eclipse, but I think she's basically been trying to make her mom proud, and the way that she was doing it was by being this company agent for her. Yeah, and and she's never had this moment to be like, well, what are we doing? Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so obviously Noah, the Notin or the HRQ just come in, just plant these ideas in her head, and just make her see things differently. So when she actually does talk to her mother about it and sees her mother kind of just like fopping her off, or just fobbing off these questions and just like going into this this diatribe about aluminium, whichever. But yeah, that's when
or something.
Which one? I can't even remember which one. I think it's aluminium, right? How do you guys say it?
That's how we say it over here, across the pond.
Anyway. Roots, and
exactly.
What else? Z and Q, Z and Q, Z and Z. Yeah. Z and Q. Thinking of Zachary Quinto. Anyway, we might as well go into. I kind of want to go into the Notin now.
Go ahead.
But I know that that's the most thing. So, they start off with their little judgy faces, and I like Quentin. He seems to have this kind of Cisco vibe about him at this moment, where he's calling his sister the Shadow Blaster, and I just got this little Cisco kind of naming superhero kind of things in my mind. But yeah, they capture Taylor, or not capture, they ambush her whilst having sushi, which was really good apparently, and start planting these ideas in Taylor's head. And I think it's a very interesting conversation, because it shows where HRG is at this moment, because obviously we know how he felt about specials from the previous seasons. He's kind of distrusting of them, especially when it comes to the season 4 flashback episode of him. But here he says, they're human beings. He even accentuates the fact that Evos are still human beings. So it seems like he's kind of matured in his later years. And then he says the lines, all parents will lie to their kids to protect them from the truth. And I thought that was great, because obviously, who else knows more about that than Noah Bennett at this point? So yeah.
Yeah, he weaseled his way into her head in like record time, by the way.
Definitely.
Ugh.
But yeah, they end up using Taylor to go into the epic system, is I guess is the thing that I can call it, and they see that they are harvesting powers, and yeah, it comes onto your bit, which I'm sure you have a lot to talk about. So, do you want to get onto the Molly bit?
Yeah, what turns into a rescue mission turns into a suicide. And it's like, dude,
Yeah.
HRG, you are losing your touch, bro. You let her touch your gun? Really? I can't believe they let Molly commit suicide. Like, it is just such an affront for them to actually, A, not bring in the real actress for whatever reason, and B, kill her off, even though it's part of the plan. They're probably going to go back and she'll be fine. It's just the point of what they did to the character of Molly for me. And also, they have this really nasty habit of putting women in refrigerators and heroes, and it just shouldn't have happened, in my personal opinion. I'm just kind of frustrated with it.
I hark it back to obviously the episode before where she'd rather run into the belly of the beast than let Noah be part of this plan or whatnot, or and that's basically what happens in this one. But and
it seems like she's doing it for Malina's sake,
getting rid of Molly in that kind of way. Yeah. But we'll probably end up learning more about it. But yeah, I want to know what the location is and what what's at this location.
It's Malina or it's Saskatchewan, where all the other. Remember in the beginning of like the episode where Tommy and his mom are trying to get to? It's this conclave of Evos in Saskatchewan. They kind of go to it a little bit in the ebook as well, and so it's either that or it was Malina's location, one of the two.
Or maybe it's Claire's location.
Everything comes back to Claire. Like, come on. Like, I don't know. I just feel like they're over Claire at this point. Like, okay, they want to give us hope that she's alive because people keep doing these RIP posts or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't really care about Claire. That's so Hero's Prime.
Yes. Yes, definitely. So, and then she leaves us with forget the past, save the future, which I'm glad it's not been a thing.
I like it actually, because I mean, they kind of have. I mean, I feel like they're trying to say that everybody except for HRG from the old cast is basically going to be dead by the end of this. I think that was our clue for.
I don't know.
So.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, they also brought in Cloney McGinty, who was awesome once again.
Oh, he's so much better than the Haitian. Like, he is BAMF, and he's not there to get his hands dirty, and he's got that smooth bad guy bass in his voice.
I know, right? Yeah, definitely. And speaking of Cloney McGinty, he obviously goes back to Erica, tells her, Molly Walker is dead, and I think, interestingly enough, they say that, the local tracking system still works.
100 yards or 100
even
feet,
though,
did they say?
Yes, something along those lines. And then, they bring up, they're searching for Malina, and then they say, just bring the shadow with you. And that's when we get Phoebe Frady.
Dude, super evil.
What?
She looks super
evil.
Right? I was creeped out at the end.
I know, right? Yeah, and that's Phoebe Frady back, which I'm glad of, and I can't wait for her. And it just came into my mind right now, like it's probably going to end up being the end of Buffy season 5, maybe, where it's Xander kind of telling Willow that he loves her, that brings her back to like real life. And it's just going to be Quentin doing the same thing.
I can see it, but in all seriousness, I can honestly see Quentin dying at the hands of Phoebe.
Definitely.
Because it's a darker show than what Heroes was.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So we might as well go on to the Vengador Rises, or the Vengador Returns, or Batman Light. Basically,
Carlos gets an upgrade. That's what I like to call it.
Let's start off at the beginning. He doesn't even get an upgrade first. The first thing he does is makes the Vengador mobile, which
to help
I kind of like it.
I
like the idea that he's trying to. Yes, definitely. And then he gets his Dark Knight suit, which last week I kind of said maybe he can steal powers without knowing, and this kind of puts that to rest and shows that, he's using the kind of Vengador 2.0 suit to kind of, match powers, or at least, give him a one-up, or at least keep him on the same level as his opponents. But he also says that, it's kind of, I don't know. Father Mauricio tells him, it's not about the power. It's not about the powers. It's the suit, and you've got to be fit to wear the suit, not let the suit kind of use you or whatnot. But it has Carlos stating that he wants to believe in something bigger than him, and that's what that kind of suit represents to him. It's that kind of, if you read the graphic novel, it goes more into it, and I think it's very interesting, which we'll talk about later. But yeah,
really though,
I think I paid whatever it was.
Well, that's what it was. I don't know how much it was with it.
Jose finds the lair, and I don't know, the way I get this feeling of that, you've got Carlos, who's kind of Batman, and you've got Father Mauricio, who's kind of like his Alfred.
And then you got Jose, who's Robin, yeah.
Blatantly, yeah. And it's funny how, Tim says he hasn't read comics, but this is, coming this is a bit too convenient, but yeah.
Well, he said he didn't read Marvel comic books, I believe is what he said specifically. And it showed for a little bit.
And then the episode finishes, his part of the episode finishes with the Dirty Deering commandeering Father Mauricio.
And Jose.
So, yeah.
Well, no, he tells Jose to...
No, he doesn't. No. I think in the background you hear one of his minions saying, "I got the kids." So yeah, he's got them both.
Uh-oh. Self-sacrifice coming from Father Mauricio.
Or, yeah, that's it. Let me see how much I did pay for it. No, I paid $3.99 for the ash can.
Yeah, $4.
Yeah, but the ash can's been out for... That's the ash can, which was free. But I paid... Oh,
what?
No, I paid $2.85 for it. Nice. Which is about $5, yeah. $4. But yeah, anyway. That's it. That's basically the end of the recap.
Yep. So let's get to the review. Favorite character?
Yay. Q, HRQ, or Quentin. I love him. I think he's great. How about you?
I'm gonna give it to Jose. Honestly, he was so cute and he's so lost, but he also is inspiring Carlos to be bigger, better, and better. And I kind of like that. I love their little hug they had. It was so cute.
And he's kind of doing it without knowing what Carlos is doing, right? He's inspiring Carlos without Carlos knowing. I like that kind of aspect as well. What was your favorite scene?
Oh, you forgot character interactions. For me, of course.
Oh, sorry, character.
It's HRQ all the way. Silently judging people while eating sushi is the best thing ever.
Definitely. I can't say enough about this pairing, and I hope they stay with it for the end, and it ends with with Quentin dying and Phoebe standing over him crying, and then Noah just pushing her out the way and crying even harder. Yeah. Next up, we have favorites scenes.
Yep. Let's see. I really liked. I actually liked the TED Talk because it was funny, and it also is like breadcrumbs. And I like when Miko and Ren are in the limo, and the limo driver is just too much. He's too much.
Definitely. I think I'm going to go for the reveal of the Vengador suit 2.0. I think it's quite cool seeing him punch that punch bag out. And I'm still wondering about Carlos and whether he has a power or not, but we'll go into that in theories.
The comic book didn't actually answer that?
No.
Oh.
I will get into the comic book, don't you worry.
Oh, okay.
Next up, favorite lines?
Oh my god, of course, Taylor's mom, this isn't a TED Talk. And then Ren's never doubt the power of social media.
I've already said mine, which is you're not alone, Malina. You'll have help, even if the others don't know about it yet. And also HRGs, all parents will lie to their kids to protect them from the truth. So yes,
No,
that was.
I think
I thought
it's
they were
only
very
you, Noah.
Huh?
I think that's a Noah thing, not really a parent thing, but whatever. Okay, so
what are you
that
going to do
grade.
about it? Nah, you first.
I'm gonna go with a C as in cat plus.
I think I'm going to agree. It's not that Nikki kind of episode of filling in the gaps, but I do like the fact that they're trying to explore a couple more other characters as opposed to Tommy, who's been quite pushed in front. And yeah, I kind of like that. But not a lot happened, and it kind of reflects in the ratings, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah.
Why'd you give it C plus?
It's just falling into its old bad habits, and I just wanted so much more for Heroes Reborn than that. Like there's these little hints, but it feels disingenuous when they like try to empower the female characters. It just all feels really disingenuous and falls apart for me. And I don't think I've seen one woman write an episode yet. Is another thing about that. Probably has a lot to do with it. And I don't know, the CGI, like even though they spent extra money, it's just when they're in the Arctic, it's just so bad. And the Aurora Borealis effect was really, really bad when all the characters were looking at it. Just I don't know. It's just falling prey to its old habits, and I'm just disappointed.
Oh well.
I think next week will be better, though.
Yeah, what is next week's called? Do we have titles? Let me check. I think the actual Wikipedia has the names of everything, so take these with a pinch of salt. Next one's called The Lion's Den, which sounds like it's going to be something to do with... just from that, it sounds like it's going to be a kind of Carlos-centric episode, I guess.
Really?
Or maybe a Renautas episode.
Yeah, I'd like that. That'd be nice.
Definitely. So, Easter eggs. We obviously have Mirinda. Easter eggs will go on. We have the Mahinda narration at the beginning and at the end.
Yep.
No?
Yep. At the end as well.
We have the Ted Sprague boiling water, Aurora Borealis, which is obviously a kind of hint to the new eclipse. We had the Holy Easter egg, which I totally missed out on the first watch. The Helix predominantly in the background of Cloney McGinty. You had that Peter something extraordinary kind of line, which we've seen in all the trailers. The compass, we had a reference to Sylar, and internet pornography, which I thought was a little Easter egg to Nikki.
I wanted him to say tentacle porn so bad, man. But is that racist? Because that's what they're kind of known for. I don't know if that's racist or not.
I know, right?
I like tentacle porn.
Then we have the world building, which I've already mentioned. Evo's not giving blood, the Aurora Borealis. And Renata's trying to kill Malina since her first birthday, so they've been around for quite some time. And finally, burning questions. I don't know how you feel about this, because I think Carlos might have some kind of technological aptitude, which basically means that he can build stuff like Forge from X-Men, because he fixes up that car pretty quick, and he makes this upgrade pretty quick. But then at the same time, I still want him to be human. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it could be a power, sure, but I do want him to be human. But even if that's his power, that's kind of a crappy power. Let's be real.
I know,
so
right?
He's like Molly, practically human. He can't really do anything for him.
It's like Charlie as well, like having just a photographic memory. It's nothing that can really help you, but
unless you're on
Jeopardy. Oh, Jeopardy. Anyway, is that actually Tommy's mother, which we've already asked? There's also the kind of the theory going around that HRG goes back in time to the day of June the 13th, because obviously when we first meet him, he's in the grey suit, and then when we see him going back in the episode before, like when we see the camera footage, he's in a blue suit. So everyone's wondering if he's going to go back. And I have one about, is Carlos going to be the one who's going to get Micah? Because when we see in some of the trailers, you see Micah wearing like white scrubs, and in another one of the trailers, Carlos is surrounded by people in white scrubs. So maybe. Oh my
God! If his power involves tech, maybe Micah manages to break free of Renautas for a second and like contacts him, and he gets all confused and goes searching for the source.
Definitely, yes. So yeah, that's that. So I have a theory now about Miko. So Miko goes into computer games. That's what it seems to be her power. Is she going to be the reason why the machine ultimately, like the kind of Cerebro machine that they've got, fails? Not because, you know, they go there and blow it up. She goes into the machine and shuts it down via her computer sprite kind of way. So yeah, that's a really crappy theory, but you know, it kind of links everything together in my mind anyway. What do you think?
Oh, your guess is as good as any. Honestly, I think they're just gonna blow the dang thing up.
Fair enough. Okay, so next up we have the Inside the Eclipse for this episode. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things. Malina, since she was born, she was told of a great destiny and was told she was going to save the world. She's been sheltered, doesn't really know how people will react to her because, you know, obviously she hasn't seen what's going on in the world. So she doesn't know how people react to Evos. We also got the first Muslim superhero, and she was quote unquote hired for a reason, to protect and foster Malina's powers. And Malina's obviously asking herself the question, does she have what it takes to kind of save the world? Vengador, basically the reason why he created the suit was, in his mind, how do you kind of fill in Superman's shoes? And that's how he does it.
So he's doing
showing.
Okay.
Yeah, essentially. Zachary Levi says that Luke basically showing his power is better than him actually saying it about his reveal to Joanne. And Joanne says that, you know, she's kind of had everything ripped away from her, and this is kind of the final straw, and it's Luke's kind of last ditch effort to kind of bring him and Joanne back from the brink of, you know, their kind of rift. Erica and Taylor it's basically maybe it's not worth Taylor living up to her mother's expectations because, you know, how warped her kind of vision is of the world. And finally Molly was kind of given a specific job, and that doesn't involve her getting rescued. And, you know, Molly knows a lot more than she let on. And Francesca Eastwood said that, you know, things, you know, where she is at the moment, where she was in the episode, things would kind of like never end for her. There was like a weight and a guilt, and it was just too much. So self-sacrifice kind of felt like the easier option, and she feels that Molly went out with a peace of mind, knowing that she doesn't have to be on the run anymore. So yeah, again,
or she could have just found the cure and took it. I'm just saying, there's other things for Molly. She deserved, if anybody deserved a happy ending, it's her and Micah. And I'm just, they better fix it.
Are you really gonna enjoy it if, like, they go back in time and she, like, they negate everything from this season?
No, I won't. But I'm just saying, certain characters definitely do deserve a happy ending after what they put us through in Hero's Prime. And if anybody, it's Molly. Like, we didn't even get to see the House of M reunited. Like, what the frick?
Yeah. Definitely. So, I guess we'll go on to emails.
So you're not going to talk about the comic book or the game or anything?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I was going to talk about... Yeah, we'll go on to that, yeah. So, next up we have the comic book, which I have in front of me. So, I'm just going to go through a couple of things with it. There's basically... It's telling a story in two kind of timelines. One is 1994 and one is just after June the 13th, and you kind of see that in the world, in the background. like newspaper clippings of like, you know, Odessa in turmoil, all that kind of stuff. And El Vengador is saving a character named Pelon, who is in the first episode briefly. His car comes in when Carlos starts leaving. And then back in 1994, Carlos kind of idolized a wrestler. And even when Oscar told him that, you know, wrestling was fake, it's still real to me, Dad. And Carlos basically liked to believe in something, and like El Vengador, or the kind of Mexican lucha wrestler, wasn't just a road to him; he was kind of like a god. And in the present day, El Vengador isn't kind of protecting people; he's just saving people, and then saying, you know, you have to get out of town, otherwise, you know, people are gonna kind of still get at you. I can't look after you the whole time. So it just looks like he's helping people immediately and not thinking about the kind of long-term goals. And then the overarching kind of thing in this kind of book is what kind of makes a hero, and also sometimes you kind of have to take punishment in order to give your best strike, and it ends with, you know, mask coming off and the reveal that it's Oscar, even though we kind of knew it. So yeah.
Okay. So
did you manage to get it?
No, I wasn't interested.
Did you?
Like I told you, El Vengador is like my least favorite like subplot for heroes right now. Sorry.
I know, I really like it. I think it delves more into the kind of character and the motivations of Carlos, especially when you see how he was watching this kind of Mexican wrestler as a kid and how he idolized him, and it kind of makes the suit feel more kind of precious to him, and it kind of shows me why he didn't put it on kind of straight away, because it was something that he revered, and he didn't know that he could kind of fill the shoes of, you know, the person before him, because, you know, he was a human. But yeah, I quite enjoy it, and I'm interested to see where it goes. But yeah. Text.
Oh, well, no, the writer for this one was Seamus Fahey and Zach Crayley. The art was by Rubin, but the cover was by Paul Pope. It's published by Titan Comics, and it's like, 32 pages long? Yeah.
And also in the back they have, I'm just looking at it now, in the back they have a book excerpt of A Matter of Trust. Yeah.
Okay, and so, like, basically...
which is one of the ebooks.
Yeah, it is. And basically it's it's one. These books, these comic books are supposed to be like 5-part story arcs each, and they spotlight a different character and all the secrets behind them and everything, is what it was pitched as. I don't know if it's actually going to come to fruition that way.
Definitely, yeah. I know the next one's out in November, so, you know, I don't know what they're going to do with the next one.
It's really crazy that they're spacing.
I think it might be about Miko. Let's just
so far apart.
Yeah. Definitely. Sorry. So, next up we have Hero's Enigma, which I can finally talk about. It's been so difficult to kind of tweet about everything without kind of spoiling anything. So yeah, this is my time to shine. How far are you into it, Lilith?
Let me look. 12.
Okay. How are you finding it thus far? As because you're more of a gamer than I am.
I mean, it's a mobile game, so how hard is it really gonna be? I'm just saying. It's okay though. I mean, I'm liking the meta to it of it all and everything.
Definitely. It took me a while. I don't know whether it was because I got the game so early and I knew I had to write a review about it that I kind of kept going back to it, but I do feel that it was quite addicting for me as like a non-gamer, so I pretty much, the way that they kind of slowly, gradually build you into the story, I kind of enjoyed. So yeah, I'm just going to go over a couple of things. So if you don't want to know more about, if you haven't completed the game and don't want to know about it, I'd suggest coming back and listening to this later, or fast forwarding about 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, cool. So it starts off with, I always question like how they could have like two different abilities. When the game first came out, they said, you know, it had time travel, and they kind of explained that straight away by saying, you know, it's this kind of Gemini formula, but they also kind of limit it to these certain people and say that, you know, they've tested it on numerous people and it's always failed, and it's just seemed to work for these kind of sisters who are Dahlia and Cassandra, And once again, they have, you know, in that kind of typical trope, they're orphaned, and Cassandra's being used as like a kind of bargaining chip. And yeah, what did you think about the quarry? Where do you think the quarry is? Like, do you think it's part of Primatech, or is it something different?
Yeah, I think
What do you
it's
think?
definitely something different and out of the way. It would almost have to be.
Mm. And yes, we have Trevor Mason, who is obviously the antagonist, and he's kind of pushing Cassandra. No, he's pushing Dahlia to try and figure out what happened to the quarry, because obviously he's figured out that, you know, something bad happens because of, you know, where she keeps
You're not
going
going to
to.
mention the
So
two
yes,
timelines?
so
Or...
the only things.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go on. No, no, it's all right. You
No,
go.
it's
You do it.
like
It's
the
fine.
reason why she basically has these powers of like time slowing and time shifting. It's like because she has to go between like 2008 and 2014. So I don't know. It was weird. I was just like, 2008. That's a garbage year.
But yeah, the reason why they got her doing this is because they obviously want to figure out what happened in 2014. So yeah, um, it's him trying to stop the future from happening, which is a very big thing of Heroes. But he's the antagonist, so yeah. Anyway, so the only things I kind of want to bring up are specific chapters that kind of have like little Easter eggs. So you've got chapter 4, which gives us the Easter egg of, you know, there's a girl who can regenerate in Odessa, and I can't remember the other one, but they finally talk about Casper and say what his powers officially are, which are to store people's memories into a penny. Then chapter 6 kind of reminds me of earlier seasons of Heroes, in the fact that, you know, she can't really manifest that a power until she's been put into that kind of adrenal gland, kind of her adrenaline starts really pumping. That's where she is able to kind of jump forward in time. Chapter 7 has the Sylar incident, which is obviously another little Easter egg to Sylar. So episode 24 is where it kind of starts the actual story, and you kind of meet a new character, or what you think is a new character, and that particular chapter was so difficult for me. I think I had to wait. It took me like a day and a half to kind of beat that. And then in chapter 25, it feels very episode 4 of Heroes season 1, in the fact that obviously it's Cassandra from the future coming back, and, you know, she's kind of had her memory wiped or something because she doesn't recognize Dahlia, and then that kind of that plays up in the ending of the episode. So yeah, that's all I really wanted to bring up. Apart from, we've already asked about is the quarry Renautas owned or not, so we've already kind of talked about that. Also, when you kind of see the Gemini formula and the powers that they've kind of not manifested, that they have on tap, basically, you see there's TK and TS, which is obviously telekinesis and kind of time shifting, but then you also see PK, which I believe is pyrokinesis, and there's one that says WH, so I don't know what that would be, but I think that's something that they'll bring up in Project Gemini, which is the next kind of game, which is the more the console-based game. So yeah.
The tech specs for this, I just kind of want to bring up for anybody that is an actual gamer. The game engine that it runs on is Unreal 4, which is which I don't know, which explains kind of some of the problems that I have. Like, I prefer like Unity 3D. Like, I actually know a little bit about this. So yeah, but yeah, it was still pretty decent. I like it so far.
We have the emails. So yes, we will start off with at Copy of Clara. They say, really, really loved tonight's episode. Didn't think Luke would show his powers so fast. Thought that it would at least last a couple of episodes. It was really intense when he showed her, though. He didn't see it coming. Really loved Noah and Quentin together. Miko and Ren are awesome. I thought that Tommy's mum was going to die. Glad she didn't, though. Heartbroken over Molly. Lots of sad faces. I wanted to see Matt, Molly, and Suresh all together again. And Phoebe at the end was awesome. I think a lot of people wanted to kind of see the House of M together. Next up, we have a couple of points from Willow Paulson. She says, Quentin Frady, a doctor's companion / audio prop, audience proxy and is her favourite character. And you know what? He's my favourite character as well. She loved the cosplay / flash mob appreciation. She thought it had really good dialogue in the script. The fake snow is fake. Sorry, Tim. Really good twists and turns, especially with Taylor. Super Bechdel test win with bonus normal clothing on the women.
You do know what that is, right? Because like it was women not talking about men. Like it's a simple test that a lot of shows and movies do not pass.
Tommy is carrying the idiot ball. It's a big ball in this episode. Why did you not teleport yourself out of the hospital room? I don't know. He is a Peter. So yeah.
He's a dum-dum. It's okay. Dum-dums are delicious.
I have another tweet from Ladies Vice Virtue, who just gives me the hashtag Renee lives and Molly lives. Not anymore, I'm afraid. Danielle,
you never know by the end of this season, though.
I'm sure they'll be back in flashbacks. Danielle Gaston 4 says, sad about Molly and a great episode. Aaron Marshall says, from Facebook says, I want to know more about the blonde girl's story, the blonde who can control the auroras. I think we've gone through that already. So, if you listen to earlier in the podcast, you will...
She's bold and ethereal, and that's all we're ever going to know. And she's Captain Planet.
Yes, she is able to control the elements. And finally, we have Corner and Chair on Twitter. They said they've recently happened on our podcast, listening as she types this. She wanted to get a couple of thoughts out about episode 4. She's happy with what they're doing with Luke's storyline, thinking about the fight-flight response to gaining powers. He's dealing with Joanne moving further apart, and he's trying to move through the grief, but she's holding on to it. All these emotions awaken his latent ability rather than adrenaline. What do you think about that? Do you think that's the case?
I honestly think that it has more to do with what happened, like I've been kind of saying, on June 13th, and as well as the Aurora Borealis. If they're trying to meld and bridge the gap between the old show and the new show, do you know what I mean? It's always been a quote unquote celestial event. So, and he was there at both. So one could have woken him up, and one could have sped up the process.
So, she also says, I like what they're doing with Tommy, kind of setting him up as a Peter Claire hybrid. To this point where he actually directed Peter's Have You Ever Felt Like You Were Meant to Do Something Extraordinary while he's also struggling, whilst he also is a struggling high schooler trying to fly under the radar. I think we've said that in previous podcasts as well. She says, I like the weird mystery going on with Hiro's sword and Renautas. I really want to see where that's going, but I feel like nothing is going to come from it for a while. I think we're all kind of interested to see where this is kind of going with Hiro's sword and Miko, and how it kind of figures into the whole kind of aspect of the story. So yeah.
Where the hell is freaking Masi gonna show up anyway?
Thing is about this episode, I think why I graded it down a bit was because every week they show Hiro in the kind of trailer, and I started thinking about it episode 4 of season 1 was where we got future Hiro. So I was like, hopefully they will pay kind of homage to that and have him appear at the end of this episode. And I was waiting for it, and I built myself up for it so much. And when it didn't happen, I think it kind of brought the episode down for me a bit. So yeah. But I didn't even look at the titles to see does his name appear in the titles? I just thought that it would just be one of those things that, at the end they'll have it in the kind of things at the end. But I was just absolutely sure that he was going to be in it. I was like, yes, this is going to happen. He's going to come back and say, forget the past, save the future. And I was like, this is going to happen. And then it didn't happen. I was like, oh, we just got Molly dead. But at least we got Phoebe. At least we got our Frady cat. Anyway, the final point she makes is, I'm not sure I like the die for the plan mentality, considering how often it has been disproved in the original series, and killing off characters just seems like bad practice. I like Heroes Reborn, I really do, but I feel like if I were watching this on Netflix, I'd be skipping over certain parts to get over to other parts I like better. I remember I had to watch season 4 after the fact, and I pretty much skipped over a lot of the Peter and Noah's parts to get to Claire, Scylla, and the carnival bits. I really hope it gets better, because I remember season 1 of Heroes really picking up after episode 4, so I hope it's the same here. I really do. I think I can kind of agree with that, because I remember episode 4 was where I really got invested into the show, but I don't kind of agree with that kind of skipping over Peter and Noah's parts. I kind of skipped over Silas' parts for the most part when I first started.
I would never skip over Noah's parts, even in Cold War. Never.
Definitely. So yeah, that's basically everything we have. Yes.
Looks like it's time for some shameless plugs and self-promotion. We'll start with the show contact info. We here at Primatech Files love listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have a ton of ways. You can email us via primatechfiles@gmail.com. You can leave us a private message or interact with our posts over on facebook.com/primatechfiles. We live tweet 2 episodes per week every Saturday starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. For more information, be sure to follow us on Twitter at PrimatechFiles. You can also find us on Clamor, Tumblr, and YouTube by simply searching for Primatech Files. If you enjoy this podcast, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. What's that? You don't have an iTunes account? That's okay. We're on a lot of podcatcher services such as Stitcher and SoundCloud. All you have to do is search for, you guessed it, Primatech Files. We're also on Libsyn. And if you want to follow our RSS feed there, all you have to do is go to primatechfiles.libsyn.com and bookmark the site to stay up to date with this podcast. Libsyn is spelled Libsyn, just in case you were wondering. We look forward to interacting with you.
If you love our podcast, be sure to check out Southgate Media Group's iTunes provider page to see a list of what other podcasts are hot and trending in our network. Or you can take that one step further and visit southgatemediagroup.com, where you can find a full list of our 80-plus podcasts, along with weekly blogs and information about all the hosts. With so many podcasts that cover everything from anime to wrestling, there's sure to be tons of podcasts that could interest you.
Hey guys, you should know by now that you can find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire. If you have a Tumblr, be sure to check out it's lilithhellfire.tumblr.com. And of course, be sure to swing by my blog if you are a pop culture junkie or comic book geek at littlepopculturevulture.blogspot.com. I also host several other podcasts on the Southgate Media Group network. Some of them are The Flashpoint, Queen Consolidated, and Channel 52. So if you are into, obviously, DC comic book related stuff, be sure to check it out.
You can find my writings at tvbinges.com. It's a place for all your binge watching needs, and you can also create your own TV binge and we'll help promote it. We do a monthly binge watch, which you're more than welcome to join in. Just go to their Twitter at tvbinges just to find out more information. You can find me on Twitter at RickyJDiaz. That's RickyJDiaz, or Z if you're American.
And now we're going to wrap it up. We want to thank you for joining in on our discussion of episode 104 of Heroes Reborn, The Needs of the Many and the Wants of the Few, apparently. Hope you enjoyed it. Look forward to getting more listener feedback. You know, you can hit us up on Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, email, all that good stuff.
Keep the rebellion alive.